Oh, there it goes. Ladies and gentlemen and variations thereof, welcome once again to the Selectives Lorecast, a casual Elder Scrolls podcast. Today we're talking about Coda, because it's been 1 year, so we're probably ought to get around to it. My name's Chris Nelson, and everybody calls me Rotten Deadite. With me today are...
I'm Merlin. Sometimes people call me Alex to my face.
And I'm Audrey. That's it for me.
Oh, my name's Chris Franzen, also known as Mojo, also known as the Babadook.
I'm Cody Schick, also known as Ordo Corvus.
I'm Joe, also known as Heroic.
I'm Justin, also known as Nerevar and Boron on Reddit.
I'm Michael, you may know me as Scourgicus.
I'm Nathan, I'm also known as Mr. Flippers.
And I'm Putnam, and that's what the vast majority of people will call me.
Yeah, okay, so we kind of started this whole webcast thing with the idea of eventually boiling it down to telling everybody about Coda, and ideally speaking, this cast would have consisted of me just saying, okay, watch all the previous crap that we did, and there you go. But that would have been entirely unhelpful. So instead, we're going to try to do our best today to explain everything we can about Coda to our usual standards of quality, which is very, very low.
Yeah, so it's still probably won't be helpful, but...
Yeah, won't be helpful at all, but we're going to do it anyway. So I think, just in general, should we do the meta stuff afterwards, and should we just start with... Can somebody just give me a very, very just brief overview of what Coda is as like a thing, as a document and that kind of stuff?
Dunmer on the moon fights a robot in space.
Okay, good job. All right, excellent. Great. Wait, that was a quick cast. All right.
Good night, everyone.
And there's some others, and then one layer of abstraction above, some other stuff happens.
Yes, yeah. Things happen the end. Once upon a time. Okay, so, but it all started in a little game called Morrowind. Way back in, who can tell me when Morrowind was made? Jesus, 2002?
2001.
2001, okay, good.
I'm
totally off. Something like that.
I'm the Xbox kid,
so we first had our first nod towards the new Amaranth and Landfall in a document called The Love Letter from the Fifth Era, which was posted to the official Bethesda forums, I believe.
Yes.
By Michael Kirkbride outside of the game. It was never included in, to the best of my knowledge, any game. I'm sure there's a mod or two for Skyrim out there that's got it, but you know. And the love letter from the Fifth Era implied that there was a huge looming catastrophe that was going to happen in, at the very least, the Fifth Era, or possibly after that. It wasn't really totally obvious. And yeah, I know, right? And so we had a lot of people had a good long look at the love letter, and not a damn blick of it made any sense, really. But people talked about it for a while as this big catastrophic event that was going to happen called Landfall, and there's a lot of speculation about it. And Coda was the official sort of story of the events that take place after Landfall. And it tells the story of a culture of Dunmer living on Masser, underneath in Masser. Hiding from Numidium, the giant stumpy robot that we hear a lot about in Daggerfall and also in Morrowind, who has apparently just shown up and wrecked everybody's shit. Just wrecked it right up. And it's a story about one particular Dunmer named Jubal Sul, and Lun Sul, thank you, and his and how he saves all of reality from Numidium, defeating it finally and creating the new Amaranth and a new dream in which we can all live and be happy.
Hooray!
That was way better than my answer.
It was just longer, honey. It was just longer. So Somebody? Okay, let's talk about the name. Who wants to tell me what a coda is? Alex, you don't have to raise your hand. You just start talking.
I was raised in a Catholic school. It's habit. Okay, well, in music, the coda is a piece that gets put at the end of the sheet music. It's in a separate block from the rest of it, so it's denoting that it's basically it's separate thematically generally, and it's a different ending. You get to the ending the first time around, and you realize that wasn't a great ending. So you go back to somewhere prior in the music, either the beginning, if it's a DC, or just something we call an arbitrary entry point if it's a DS. You play to the point where it says, all right, we're done, time to go to the real ending. Then you go to the coda. It's different music. It generally ends the song on a completely different theme than it's been playing so far. And then you go to the next piece, or you end the concert and go home, depending on how your director feels. But it's just a separate theme, a way to tie the main movement together, but it's not always part of it. Yeah.
Right, exactly, and it is, but without question, it is the end of the end of the Morrowind plotline, basically. Of all the stuff that happens in Morrowind, and of all the metaphysics that get set up in the 36 lessons and elsewhere, this is the end of it. Oh yeah, Cody, thanks. Does anybody want to try to encapsulate the Aurbis as a song?
Merlin, go for
Alex,
it.
Yeah, didn't you kind of goddamn write that?
Yes, yes, I did.
Well, tell me about it.
And I wish I knew what I wrote, I'll be honest. But, a long, long time ago, in an IRC channel far away, once Michael Kirkbride told us about how, basically, the gods were emotions and colors and sounds, or something like that. Anyways, that's what I took away from it. The text may have been something else. And I thought, given that I try and put everything I possibly can in the context of engineering, and that I'm both colorblind and a poor musician, I should write up a way of interpreting the Aurbis as a harmonic series of the gods and tones. So, depending on how you look at it, you can see the divinities that we have listed, who, incidentally, if you treat Sheogorath and Jigalag as separate entities, it comes out to 24 total entities, and you can divide them into the sort of scale we use in Western music a lot, which what you can also assign to colors, and actually has been a thing for either people who have trouble hearing or seeing but can do the other one just fine, or for synesthetics, which is an important part of this theory as well. We have mapped the color wheel to the tone wheel, basically. So you can take that, extrapolate it to the pantheons, and all of a sudden you can basically, if you believe my insanity, you can describe pretty much anything in the Aurbis as being a harmonic composition of the various gods who are their emotions that they represent and such. So read it on Reddit. It makes much more sense than me talking about it.
And that'll be yet another one of those links that I add into the comments.
I need to permalink that on my website because I've got like actual colors and stuff up there, and
Yeah,
and the
it's really
songs.
cool on your side.
Thank you. I tried very hard.
Yeah, it was very, very good. That he's got the music theory and the color theory, and they're both really excellent. And so the idea of coda as being the thing that ends the storyline is a good it's rich with symbolism. But what about the symbol?
Well,
What, the zero?
Yeah, why a zero? Why the coda symbol and a zero? Why the zero?
Well, just for fun, it looks like the sword at the center.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was zero because it was meant to be like the starting point for the new dream.
There, he gets the cookie.
Yeah.
Wait, we have cookies?
Yeah, you do. Well, you haven't earned one yet, Joe, so get it on the stick.
Especially though, like as Tez gets more and more sci-fi, especially as it did in Coda, zero is commonly seen as the origin and beginning in programming, mostly because that's where we start counting from. So
Actually, I'm really glad you brought that up. So what is the deal with all the goddamn sci-fi stuff in Coda?
well, we're fighting a mile-high robot. Yeah. At that point,
natural
you're
advancement.
gonna draw the line at other bits of sci-fi? I mean, come on.
Yeah. So, can anybody give me examples of typically sci-fi elements that have shown up in the Elder Scrolls series and games that people have already played?
Battlespire.
The entire dwarves.
Yeah.
Spaceships.
Any
Battlefield.
dwarven ruin at all.
Battlespire has the internet. I mean, come on.
Battlespire
is sort of a
And
space
takes place in a
station
space
style thing to
element.
begin with.
Battlespire
Yeah.
takes place on an Imperial space station.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
There's no
Imperial
moon.
Space Station. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun.
my brain went to the
Clockwork
same
No
place.
moon.
Don't forget that Palinol has a lightsaber.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Thalmor-
it's a robot.
Thalmor, the
Or
gay
something.
cyborg assassin
Gay
from the
robot.
future.
Oh my god.
Gay robot.
prototype extra-liminal Nernian assault.
Oh, yeah, you gotta talk about the robots, too.
There,
All of the robots.
there is a really fat guy with giant metal spider legs. That's kind of hard to ignore, I think.
Yeah,
that's
Background.
that's a complete. Everyone forgets about background. Yeah.
Just like his people did.
Okay, I'm used to it.
Oh god.
Nobody likes me very much.
He's like
This
Yoda,
actually
except
reminds
the
me of,
opposite in every way.
It's also worth noting that Sotha Sil uploaded his mind to a computer, so
Yeah. Well, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
we hope.
Forget
Otherwise,
Sotha
he's
Sil kind of
going
became-
dead. And that
Yeah.
would be sad.
Clockwork City is
If you have
another
any
good
sense
example.
of, if you have any sense of poetry, then of course that's what he did. Yeah.
There's
I'm
also
sorry, Justin. What did you say? I'm sorry.
The Clockwork City is another example I was saying.
Oh, the Clockwork City. Yeah.
Devathver did clone himself. Like, that's kind of
He sexy
Yeah.
cloned himself.
sexy cloned himself.
Yes, he
Wouldn't though.
did.
He made
You
his
would
own
if you
waifus.
could.
Yeah.
It's not incest
He
if it's
made his
you.
own waifus.
Each and every one
What
of
the
you
fuck
would
is a
could.
waifu?
Oh,
Just-
but they
oh,
call,
God.
he calls them
Don't worry
his
about it.
daughters.
Yeah. We'll talk. We'll bring that up later.
His clone daughter wives.
Too old
Oh,
for this shit.
So
Oh,
okay.
he's
So,
not
What
too
if you
old
could,
for anything.
Franzen?
so speaking of the giant stumpy robot, what? God, can somebody make this short? What is Numidium?
Gomeri Hell.
I just watched the video he did.
Golden
Yeah.
robot that's
Watch
fucking
the
everything.
cast previous to this
Does
one.
that.
He's
Yeah,
the
Numidium
pig.
does everything, he does this to everyone.
Nathan's got it.
In a nutshell,
Nathan's got it.
I have
I
one
summed
that's
it up
for
well
Deadeye.
enough in the first 10 seconds of that, I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
Giant Stumpy Robot works, but Deadeye, you called him the last note of the song in an older podcast. I think he's
I
more
did?
the part of the yeah, you did. You said a smart. But
Oh,
I don't think
I
he's,
said
Off
smart.
the
I
Discord.
think he's more the part of the concert where the band goes crazy and just smashes all the shit. And
No.
like they break the guitars, and tip the amps, and like throw their
He's
beats
punk
at
rock,
people.
man.
He's that part of the show where it's done for real.
Good one, Justin. Like the note of Discord, like Melkor for all you
Oh,
for
that's
all you
Yes.
Elder Scrolls.
Elder
It's
Scrolls.
Jesus,
Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings.
Rings
basically like Lord of the Rings. I mean, the
So
whole
really-
progression of technology and magic. And,
That's a really good way
wonders
to
of the
put it.
world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although I'm sure Kirkbride appreciates us drawing more parallels between Elder Scrolls and Lord of the Rings, but
Well, it's some really.
I kind of
It's
assumed.
Oh, it's a pop culture thing. It's something that most people. Well, I'm not sure if most people are aware of Melkor, but whatever. Sauron's a lot more.
If you
popular.
don't read the Silmarillion, you don't deserve to call yourself a Tolkien fan. I mean, let's be real here.
Serially. Serially.
let's be real
Let's
elitist.
get super serial.
Super ethereal.
Read the Silmarillion.
So okay, so no, read the 36 Lessons of Vivec. Jesus. Okay, so we've got we got a handle on what Numidium is because I'm assuming everybody watching this video paused this video and went and watched the previous cast and is now on board. So, what is Landfall?
It's like when that moon prison thing fell on Vivec.
The big stomp.
It's
That
If you want to believe more of my insanity, it's when
Okay.
Akatosh bit himself and Numidium crashed back into the world.
That
Yeah.
I buy.
it's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
That's
it's also
fun.
Numidium-
described as
And
The
if you haven't
Numidium
read the
stomped really
Numidiad,
hard.
you should add that to your list of my gratuitous publications as well.
Landfall Landfall
I
could
mean-
also be all the races going up to the moons to escape the big stompy robot about to destroy their houses.
That actually, I like that better, actually. Versus Numidium making landfall, them launching and making landfall on the moon.
Porque no los dos.
And it would also actually, with, like, they have landfall seasons in Coda. They mentioned it a couple times. It's the 88th landfall season, which is the 89th now, just saying.
I think somebody mentioned that was when Nern comes into view, memory comes into view.
That was me.
I thought was pretty good. That was you?
I
Okay.
like that, yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. So and also what parts of just somebody who has the high resolution image in front of them, hopefully somebody will be able to tell me what you're seeing on memory. Is that the land or is that the sea? Because I was thinking if it was the sea, then maybe the land fell away, and that's why you could call it landfall. The land.
talking about
That's
the
what I thought it meant.
It was
The
mentioned that
land
Hammerfell
fell
was
into the
stomped
Clockwork
into the
City
ocean.
and the Clockwork.
That's true.
That was my favorite
Well,
line
okay.
of the entire
It
thing.
looks like it's rocks. I'm
Yeah,
trying
there's
to
like
figure out.
rocks and gears. Like
Yeah.
a really crusty
Rocks,
deep
gears, and
dive.
that. Like, it looks like
Maybe
water
it's-
has drained away, but I'm not.
Yeah,
it
I
could be
took it as
clouds.
the water itself had boiled away, and what you're seeing with the land masses,
I'm
Could be.
because there was no memory. Memory was
calling
gone.
a Catholic school.
What?
So actually,
Go,
I have
Michael.
a thought on this. There's actually, let me get to it. When they go up, here we go. The planet Earth cracked open like an asteroid
Thank you.
field, still held into spherical shape by forces unknown. So my impression was that it was Nern that had been split in half, and you were seeing the inside of Nern.
Okay. Sure. I'll
That's
take
what I took away from it too.
it. So the two suns. There's been a couple of people speculating about the two suns. Yeah.
I found something, actually. Right before we started this, I was actually trying to hold off the cast to discuss this real quick.
Well, let's do it now. Let's do it
Yeah,
live.
might as well. Do it live. Okay, so the first mention, which a lot of people I think missed, but I know Justin has brought it up numerous times. I think originally I heard it from him. In 500 Mighty Companions that Kirkbride wrote. Through the list of all those names, there is, the 55 beards of the Broadwall, who gave tithe, torque, and square caskets to their Thumthane. Okay, I skip ahead. Born under the strange suns, meaning the son of Aldmora and the son of Marithland.
Okay, so what in balls is Aldmora?
Probably.
Well, I would think that's Altmora.
Aldmora, yeah. You think it's
Well,
Aldmaris?
that would be Elderfex for Old Wood or Old Forest.
Yeah. I think it would be at Mora.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
What if
then.
it's the Hist?
Oh shit.
It's always the fucking hist.
I mean, we keep talking about how old wood is what wood is older than the Hist, and we keep ignoring that. But
Oh, I agree.
that's fair.
saying, "Ha, that can't possibly be a thing," has always gone well for Teslor before.
I could have sworn Atmora was called Aldmora somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was
I don't know
born
where.
under the sons of both Atmora and Tamriel?
Possibly, but I think the things that stuck out to me was the Broadwall, which there is, I had found, MK had, looks like 6 months ago, in reference to, like, Elduin's wall, implying that there's multiple walls. You know, there was Elduin's was only a fragment that stretched across one portion of Frozen Breath. Then he talks about brought roundabout from the Broadwall in the north, which fits with the 500 Companions passage of those people from the Broadwall. And if these walls stretch time itself, if we try to stretch this answer a bit, possibly there are two suns, maybe during like dragon breaks or dawn time.
Aha! Now you're onto something.
You know, it also says in that passage, you know, it was his clan that built and broke and rebuilt Broadwall whenever the Nords deigned to sing their return, whether forwards or back, which could mean backwards or forward in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that looks like that's the end. It's sometimes hard to tell with this thing.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Is it vague? Is it hard to read?
Yeah, a little.
Okay, so I like the idea of two suns during a dragon break.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest solution that I heard was that the second sun is just the big friggin' hole that Numidium made punching his way back in.
Well, you can take that as a metaphor, though. He causes dragon break.
I absolutely insist that it's a metaphor, but
Yeah.
what, you know, that it could have caused a dragon break, sure.
Well, because he's done it before. It's not like it's outside the pale of his
Numidium causes a dragon break every time he's activated. It's not a spontaneous.
Coda, it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, at that point, the Jills are turned into worms that try to dig into the planet.
Yeah. But where did that idea come from, that the Jills were worms?
Akatosh, was completely destroyed. He broken beyond repair, and he had no more wings anymore. He shows up in Jubal's vision, and he's
and he gets called a worm, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's pretty good. And they're eating Master because...
I don't think they're eating Master. I think they're desperately trying to fix the timeline because everything's happening. So they're just looking to just destroy people.
Gotcha. So why does Jubal's red worm staff, why does the color red scare them off?
Maybe it has to do with redshift?
It could. What is the color of betrayal?
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
There you go. Okay.
Nice work.
Yeah. Well on that. So why does Numidium come back?
Well, supposedly there's something Thalmor.
Yeah, somebody had posted on Reddit, just, I don't know if he pulled it out of his rear end or if that was something serious, but just he got bored with. Yeah, he got bored with the Thalmor.
He finished them off.
Yeah, and he decided I'm done with you and I'm going home.
Screw you guys. Well, Numidium actually Jubal asks him, and Numidium confirms. He says yes. He says you just wanted to win, right?
Yeah, that's another thing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just that I really liked. Well, I thought Warden's way of saying that he was talking to Numidium as to his Anu. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's I was going to suggest that it's very, well, I don't know how possible it is, but I was going to suggest that you might think about the possibility that the Thalmor might have brought Numidium back from wherever it was, considering the fact that the Altmer have had mirror logicians fighting his ass in every dimension you can think of. Is it possible that the Thalmor just decided, you know what, fuck this shit, we're going to hit the reboot button?
What if he
and
just
then they really regretted it.
Aren't the Altmer gone in Coda?
Yes.
That's a good question.
So
They're doing their little Battlestar Galactica thing somewhere.
I love it.
So it's entirely
That's a great idea.
possible that the Thalmor found that their idea for going back up the gradients was boot Numidium back, he'll deal with everyone else, and then now it's just them.
Well, there aren't any men anymore either. Yeah.
Well,
So
maybe they're fighting the Thalmor, maybe the Thalmor erased them, I don't know, but as far as I can recall, the Khajiit and the Dunmer are the only people where the Thalmor can't go to war against them and don't have a grand plan to erase them from the Mythic, because apparently the Void Knights didn't work, but they tried.
Yeah, they gave it a shot.
There was an attempt.
What happened there?
Say what, Justin?
I mean, Void Knights. I mean, we know it happened, but we have no idea what happened then. I mean, I imagine they were trying to see if Khajiits born without the moons would probably revert back to Altmer.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't know whether that worked or not.
Exactly. There's no mention of it.
Does anybody else suspect this is another one of those things that they wanted to put into Skyrim but couldn't get to?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. It seemed like one of those things where, really, you're just going to put that out there and you're not going to talk about it. It just,
It's also possible that the Khajiit are not telling.
Yeah, they have that habit.
They are good liars, the best.
I'm not exactly a parent, but I mean, if all of a sudden my entire species just couldn't have babies anymore, I would not tell people how to make that be a thing.
Yeah.
Damage control.
So there's a couple of ideas in the document about this, but what's a digital? People who've read Coda will know that there are these floating fingers. That's the best way to describe them. They float around and they point at things and they talk in all caps. So what's a digital?
Sounds like an angry Redditor from that description.
It's a very meta answer. It's you, it's me, it's the player. It's whoever's putting their own spin, injecting their own, story or diverging plot. Interfering with the game. Interfering is a bad word to use. I don't want to use that, but it's the player or writer or whomever sticking their fingers in.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider, exactly.
I'm going to describe the Void Ghost as doing exactly that sort of thing. So,
the Void Ghost is a Mary Sue, though. So.
I mean, personally, I've kind of always tentatively imagined them as a new realizing he's in a dream, but he hasn't gotten to the point where he's waking up yet. So the digitals are where Anu's trying to fiddle with the dream, because he's going from sensory deprivation to lucid dreaming, I guess. But he's not waking up.
Could be. It's noteworthy that the digitals, they're called the Coda digitals, aren't they? That they are concerned with tracing someone's lineage?
Yeah.
So why is Jubal's lineage important?
A relation to, I imagine,
There was a dog.
Alandro Sul?
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of important Suls, apparently.
Especially in this case, because Coda happens when time is completely freaking broken, and Alandro Sul himself shattered into 1,000 pieces of Wraith Mail, which, if, as Vivec put him in his mouth, was forced to tell his own truth.
Apparently, a lot of Dunmer were supposed to have ringlets of the Wraith Mail.
Yeah, especially
that they would wear as
jewelry.
Jewelry, yeah, and that they could put in their mouths to only speak the truth. So why is Alandro Sul an important character in the Mythic?
He plays the witness at Nerevar's murder.
Right.
It was his shield thing, so he's supposed to vanish, but he blew up in 1,000 pieces.
Well, according to some stories, he apparently went blind and wandered among the Ashlanders.
Oh, well,
which is cool too.
They both could have happened. I mean, there was the red moment that happened right after Nerevar's murder.
So by extension, that means that Jubal in Sul is a direct descendant of the important witness figure who witnessed the greatest betrayal of the Dunmer and friends. And what about salt merchants? That's a good one. I was about to go on a long piece of bullshit. I didn't know where it was going to go. Let's talk about salt merchants. What's salt? Why are salt merchants important?
Well, there is. I'm trying to find it right now. I had read something connecting Aphrodite with sex and salt. Salt's importance, let's say even just procreating, a proper salt intake will increase the chances of pregnancy, as well as a healthy salt intake as well is good for lactation. I mean, these are not only birth but sustaining qualities, which I think is important for a culture living on the moon with everything in their way, and provide, the importance of being a salt merchant is supplying the needs of the people and sustaining the people, as well as not only birthing them. Because I think it's also important that, here, I got it right here. When he describes himself, when Jubal describes himself, his ancestor was the first child born in the Velothede, which, if the Velothede is their moon colony, he was the first of this new generation of moon dwellers. He was the beginning of that new society, and by being salt merchants, if we take this sustaining idea of salt, they continued to keep the society from crumbling, and they kept them together and kept them healthy, culturally speaking.
Also important to early cultures, salt used to be used as a form of money.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't Jubal say that he was partially responsible and wholly responsible? His family was responsible for keeping the worms at bay.
Well, what happens when you salt a worm?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do that. I've never been that bored.
Terrible things.
Yeah, it's not good.
A lot of people just feel that it's a Dune reference. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
That's kind of what I thought too. Yeah, I thought that it might have been sort of a nod towards like spice in a way, like it was sort of the big valuable thing. Yeah, I don't know. I got that feeling, and then when they're talking about giant worms, I was just like, Jesus, oh God, and they're on a red desert planet. Oh God.
You're so fucked.
Yeah. Jubal Soul's the Kwisatz Haderach, which he totally fucking is. Yeah, by the way, I don't know if we've ever mentioned this before, but if anybody's watching this podcast and they haven't read Dune, get the fuck with it. And then, once you read Dune, and then you read like all the rest of the Frank Herbert stuff, and not the bullshit that came after it, I'm talking about the good Frank Herbert novels, read those, and then go back and play Morrowind again, and you'll get the weirdest case of deja vu you've ever had. It's crazy.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, God Emperor of Dune for me is sort of like the biography of Vivec. Yeah. But anyway, okay. So salt, important stuff. Let's move on. We haven't answered anything. That's good. Hey, something a little bit more open to personal interpretation. Let's talk about punching out television.
Oh God.
Why? First off, why is that weird ass section in this story at all?
I think Lady N mentioned that it was just like the Avengers. Just a way of people, especially in Tomorrowland, to kind of view the Tribunal. How do people in the future view the Tribunal? In Morrowind, you know that they're living gods, and that's the way that they view them. And the people seem to have a healthy supply of cynicism, while also expecting an extreme and fanatical devotion to the temple. But in Tomorrowland, which seems like a sort of like it's basically everything is a fucking Walmart. The only way that you'd be able to represent that is through rampant commercialism. So you basically have Superman, Big V in his giant form. You have I Am who just says which Nerevar, and you have Molag Balls with him for some fucking reason, and Dagather is there. So I think it's just the way that people in this sort of rampant consumer society are able to view their gods basically as TV characters.
Well, that's interesting. You should mention. I'm glad you brought up Molag Bal. Can anybody speculate on why Molag Bal was in that scene in the capacity that he was?
Well, I mean, the whole thing is about subjectivity, and Molag Bal, if I remember right, has a lot to do with the scripture of the mace, which is forcing your truth onto others.
Which is what television does.
There you
go. Okay. Not bad.
I would have said it's because he was instrumental in Vivec's development.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
That's very true.
Yeah. I mean, they both work though.
Yeah. Yeah, both are good. The idea of Tomorrowwind being this sort of like television corporate version of ancient, what by the Fifth Era is ancient history. Yeah, the pseudo Sixth House is that you have it's also partially due to the fact that, and Jubal mentions this specifically, that memory doesn't work as well as it used to, because as you find out in the story, memory is leaving. And so people don't remember things the way they actually happened. And this could also just be a product of it just being really ancient history. I mean, it's been a long time since this stuff happened, and people just don't remember it very well. And,
Also,
and
time
popular
isn't
culture
linear.
has twisted up the story. Yeah, and also time's all broken up. So,
Well, he mentions it in the story several times. I think right before the television scene, he mentions Vivec having three different possible origins, and I think he mentions all of them. But they're not sure, so they might have all happened. They might, or people just be fucking wrong about it.
Yeah, and the reason why Tomorrowwind gets the most number of pages is because, or the pseudo Sixth House gets the most number of pages is because it's also visually the most awesome. You know. Plus the idea of the V as like a Power Rangers kind of thing is just really appealing to me. I just love the idea. Vivec giant form. But
Can I throw out a crazy idea?
Go.
That's
All right.
what we're all about.
So that's what it all is. So in when they're talking about the pseudo Sixth House, Jubal says there are super people. They all do stuff like that, the impossible. They take whatever weirdness that threatens our world, whatever the scale, and smack it back into shape by using whatever impossible means they have inside them. And you know why I'm so confident? Because I can't imagine a world where their kind of impossible isn't. So dig this. By using television, and ergo propaganda, it's a way to instill confidence and faith in the people that will never fail like it did in the Red Year.
Or like what they did with the sermons. Vivec specifically wrote the sermons to read like Stevie was infallible and had always been, so it's the same thing.
And so the pseudo Sixth House is the modern version of the 36 Lessons.
Yep.
I like it. That's really good. That's really good. Television, by the way, I think I wrote something about this on Reddit at some point or another, is like a version of like a retelling of the story of Dagothar and Blight, where television takes over people's minds. The people with the television heads are basically, ash slaves.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a cute idea, but I don't know how well it holds up.
Yeah, it does kind of work.
I like it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Spreading his ideas through corpus, spreading your ideas through television.
Oh, yes. To sort of hop around again, because I'm trying to hit as many topics as possible, and we're already like 40 minutes in. Lunar interference and the scarves that Jubal wears when he's outside on the surface of the moon. This is something that we covered when we were working on Tatterdemalion that did not dawn on us, and apparently it was more obvious to Michael than it is to anybody else. But Kirk, by the way, the idea of the moon and the lunar surface tries to trick you into forgetting how to breathe. It's psychosomatic.
Oh.
So it's not that there's no oxygen there, it's that you can't remember how to breathe. And that's why the scarves are important. That's why Imperial Manonauts wear those big, huge helmets and spacesuits. It's the reason why Cyrus and his crew eventually start learning how to breathe through straws, because they just have to remember how to do it. They need some kind of yeah. It's one of those little minute-to-minute things about void travel that doesn't really jump out at you, that but makes it really cool, in my opinion. Lunar interference, belief magic, yes.
Yes.
Atmosphere exists in Oblivion, but disbelief causes asphyxia and death. So breathing scarves then are mimetic aids or belief magic. That's really good. Whoever wrote that was on the ball.
That was me.
It was.
All the crazy technical stuff is me.
Mm-hmm. My phone just rebooted without me telling it to. How nice. Okay. So, second brain. That one stuck out to me early in the book. Jubal talks about going second brain, and here tells him not to.
What if it?
Say what, Franzen?
I wonder. I just thought of this, which I'm sure we'll talk about with the Wheels of Llull, and
I'm building up to that.
Yeah, and Raymond Llull. What if second brain is kind of, if we take Llull's idea of what the hell is it called? It's a mimetic device, It's where you lull yourself into a dreamlike trance, and there's a set of rooms in your own imagination where you store things. It's a device for memorizing things.
Sherlock episode.
I don't watch that actually.
Oh, they're so good.
It's so
great. I don't know, I'll be sure to. I have the link here. I'll post in our chat so we remember to link it in the video description.
Thank you.
But it's this idea of lulling yourself, by humming a lullaby into a dreamlike stance. And he called it the theater of the mind. And this dream theater, I'm just gonna read it verbatim, would then have different rooms. I know
Jersey rule.
Yeah.
Brains are memory theaters of crystallized light. Huh.
Scenes from a memory. Sorry, had to say it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
But yeah.
Sorry, Franzen, go ahead.
No, that's essentially it. It's inside your own mind in this dream theater. You have a set of rooms which are like filing rooms. Or I think I've even seen it described as like cities with buildings being different caches of information. Just tying one set of memories to one specific concept. So it's a mimetic device essentially.
Right, which is the same thing with the scarves, and it's what people have to resort to when memory is breaking all the hell all over the place. Which is, and so I guess we haven't really fully discussed why Nern looks like a bunch of gears on the inside.
Because the giant robot stomped it to Oblivion.
Well, but why gears?
We were talking more gears than broken.
Actually, we brought this up in a previous podcast. I just can't remember which one, so we're just going to do it again.
Basically, this is how we discover that the Clockwork City might actually extend entirely throughout underneath Nern and might actually be the Wheels of Llull. And
right.
MK mentioned how even Sothasil didn't even know the purpose of the Clockwork City, which supports this, implying that if he didn't know the purpose, he wouldn't have made it. And he says another Dunmer will actually discover its purpose, which we see.
Was prophetic as all hell, yeah.
Yeah.
And which is also something we should probably mention to this point if it isn't immediately obvious. Somebody's echoing.
Music?
I don't know. But something that's important for us to reinforce here is that this whole plot line for Coda was in probably, I think it's safe to bet, was probably Michael Kirkbride's head way long ago before this book ever came out.
Yeah.
So, and we've been seeing little drops. Like if you go back and read everything that's happened since then, there are just little bits of information hidden here and there that are entirely, all pointing in this direction. This isn't something you just came up over a weekend.
That's what makes a lot of fun of the whole. Where the hell is the Clockwork City? And it's like it's everywhere. It's beneath the crust.
If you play ESO, apparently you're going to be able to go there. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
will have an actual location for it pretty soon.
I've seen screenshots and movies and stuff. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This guy looks like a Dyson sphere, so.
Yeah. Which is awesome as hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think we were talking about this in Sothasil's cast, where we were talking about memory and water being memory, and Sothasil's realm being the lower water, the lower oceans. And the Clockwork City being Sothasil's domain, which is of course an extension of memory. It all kind of just clues together now. It's all coming together.
Yeah. You should also. I don't know. Did you mention this on the Sothasil cast? What Chris just mentioned, that memory was actually Sothasil's daughter, or
I think
know
we
if we
did.
mentioned
Gosh, I
it.
hope we did. It's kind of big. Did we? Didn't we?
I don't think so.
Let's talk about it
that,
now.
but I don't remember a lot of stuff from those podcasts.
Which it's kind of another throwback of how Magnus had the Nemali, and they were recording everything, and then so the Sil, also the Mage and the Enantiomorph goes and the
good.
memory.
Yes.
Yes, very good. I know for a fact we didn't mention the Magnus connection, so that's very good. Why isn't the art finished? Because it's really friggin' good. That's why you don't see a whole lot of art for Coda right now. Is because it's incredibly expensive and it takes a long time to make. At the rate things are going right now, every damn panel is going to be a work of art. It's going to be ridiculous.
Wow.
Plus, there's some really big names, and they have some schedules and of their own. They're doing this in their free time. I mean, look up some of the names. They're big names. Like Katie Hargrove has been, back when CG Hub was still a thing, was on the cover for like 8 months straight.
Yeah.
She's one of the concept artists for Guild Wars.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Guild Wars has the best fucking art.
It's not
MC
like
Barrett, like, ugh.
It's not like he went to the Fabian art and just grabbed the first person he could find. I mean, these are serious professional artists here doing
One thing I wanted to know, if we could mention, maybe Michael, you might have an answer for me. The only two people who are left on the moon are the Khajiit and the Dunmer, but the Dunmer play the central role. And the Khajiit appear to be not necessarily strictly subservient, but they seem to be basically helpers. And the Khajiit are the most likely people to know how to get to the moon in the first place. Do you know why they would help the Dunmer, since they have such a shitty relationship historically?
Well, okay, so crazy headcanon theory. I suspect that the Khajiit suffer from pretty serious guilt because the Thalmor danced upon them in the Void Knights and broke their tower. And they helped to destroy the world because they fought with the Thalmor. They didn't get to go to heaven with them. And so there might be a sense of trying to atone. Maybe. I don't even know if that's a thing in Khajiit. I don't know if you'd even call it faith.
Yeah, I'm not really, like, that was my biggest confusion about Coda. I mean, besides the obvious weird stuff that you have to sit down and, like, dream about or whatever, was why the Khajiit went with the Dunmer of all people to the moon. It just seems, like, I haven't quite gotten that yet.
Well, I think there's another, it's a prequel comic, so to speak, Landfall Day 1, where all the remaining races are pooling resources to build the Wonderware, which is that's their ship that's going to take them to the moon. And during that, Numidium stomps out the present Thalmor there, but there's a sense of kinship between the Marish races. There's a scene that really drives that fact home, that they're forced to put aside their differences to escape. And perhaps they were just the last ones to survive, really, to make it to the spaceship. So it might not even be a thing of specific friendship. Just why not board it together? You know what I mean? I mean, that'd just be like a dick move. Like, nope, fuck you. You're stuck. You know, that would just seem petty for either party, no matter their former relations.
Plus, somebody has to harvest and process all the moon sugar up on Masser.
That is true. It's also entirely possible, I think, that some of the Khajiit were already up there, because as we know, the Khajiit have been forming moons of themselves for quite a long time already.
There's Rita Ridata.
Yeah.
Which is the first main, actually, I think.
Okay, so let's talk about the meta shit.
Should we talk about the actual ending of Coda and like?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Talk about.
Tie that in too. Because I feel like
I can't really talk about the marriage without talking about what it means. You know, like, I guess. Let's see. Why? Okay, how about this? Why Vivec?
And instead of whom?
Why is Vivec the mother of, so to speak, in quotes, the mother of the new man?
Shit, I can't help think of meta answers now.
I know.
Before we jump full off into meta, we didn't really talk about Jubal versus Numidium much, and there is this note here: Jubal via CHIM revealing his mastery in disguise in the G-Doc.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is here?
What?
Is that?
It's in the.
It's under digitals.
Yeah.
Oh, the digitals. Yeah.
Yeah. And
so he kills Numidium with Numidium's own
which was
speech bubble.
Great. I fucking love that so much.
So is that CHIM?
It is sort of becoming somewhat aware of the non-reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
So very
sure
deep.
seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that also kind of
ties into Deadpool. Yeah.
You mentioned what was it? The speech bubble?
No,
I'm sorry.
Empty speech bubble.
Empty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he cuts off Numidium's head with Numidium's own empty speech bubble, and it's sort of like it's a little bit like him using. It's like every empty speech bubble you could think of as being one of Numidium's denials of saying neither no nor yes nor maybe or anything. And then but no is a yes in disguise. That's the thing about no. So the idea of an empty speech bubble is that it's saying literally nothing. It's like it's not a void, which is possibility. It's not a word, which is a statement in a definite structure. It's none of those things. It's nothing. And so and basically Jubal takes that weapon and uses it against Numidium and cuts its head off.
I've also suggested that the empty speech bubble is Numidium's protonymic, refusal of everything.
Ooh.
That there's nothing more to say because everything's been refused. And so then when Jubal kills Numidium, he's using Numidium's protonymic as somebody does to Azura, Mephallo, and Beithia in DSE Ray.
That's not out yet, so.
Actually, is nothing then?
A protonymic is your base name.
I know what a protonymic is, but I'm talking about Numidium's protonymic, which I guess in this case wouldn't be. That not being is
Right. Okay.
Well, obviously.
I think I know what you mean.
I don't.
No, you're onto the right course. It's not. It's Numidium's protonymic is. Shit. How do you put this? It's
It's. I guess
null.
It's not.
It's null. Yeah, it's nullification. It's.
Oh, null. Yeah, it's like it's not nothing. Yeah. That's itself something. It's less. It's like a sort of null set kind of thing.
Yeah.
I personally really like to use like logic theory, especially as how it's described in like database management, because programmer and all that. And I mean, it fits with working with Numidium, but like in some languages, it's especially with like SQL databases, null is different from no because no says we've looked up this record, we've checked, it doesn't match. Null means not only do I not know what you're talking about, but it's possible that what you're talking about might exist, it might not, but we can't find it, and it wouldn't make any sense if we did. So
is a null pointer exception.
Yeah, and in languages like C++, null is, if you try and follow it, you wind up at the base of the memory stack with absolutely no information, and you're pretty much screwed over, and the kernel has a fit. But
the lowest subgradient, sort of.
Yeah, so like Numidium's name could be a null pointer. We know he has a name. It's just it doesn't resolve to anything.
This works frighteningly well.
I was about to get into really complicated CPU security level things, but I'm not sure if that's for today.
I don't know. There's got to be at least one person watching this cast who's like, "Fuck yeah, man! Talk about it."
We did the Shor's algorithm thing last time, or not last time, the time before. So.
The whole
Shor's algorithm joke. But actually, this leads me to sort of a non-meta answer as to why Vivec would be the mother of the new man.
Vivec's the antithesis of Llull. Vivec's the wild card star. He can be anything.
Well, he can, but I was actually going to say that because if both Vivec and Jubal have CHIM, first off, internet, pause and go watch the CHIM episode, because we mentioned sort of like the preparations for Amaranth that didn't happen in the 36 lessons. If you kind of add that to yet another person having CHIM, now all of a sudden you have these two people who have been preparing themselves for, essentially for this moment, and then they come together and it can finally happen.
Well, and that's why Vivec, because
that would be the non-meta answer if we want one,
okay.
As far as I could say.
All right.
But as for, there's this thing here in the side with the high Alma. Isn't that just in the 36 lessons? Almalexia is Vivec's mother, in a way, in a twisted sort of way. That's kind of an iffy thing too. But I'm just like,
I'm gonna dodge high Alma. I don't understand it. I can't I'm sure it's one of those things that's much simpler than I'm making it out to be, but I just can't figure it out. And I think maybe I'm just trying to make it.
Taking the role.
Totally. Dodge Almalexia before I get all Conan on everyone and spend like another hour just screaming into my mic. I have a lot to say on the subject.
Almalexia revisit. That's awesome. Supposed to happen someday.
Yeah. Yeah, shit.
But yeah, so do we want to jump feet first into meta then? Now that I guess we've kind of covered all the non-meta?
Well, okay, but so let's talk about what Vivec's role is in the... I'm sorry?
Like Numidium jumped feet first onto Nurin, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. What's
Why
does Vivec become the quote unquote womb for the new man? I can give you 36 lesson stuff if you want me to talk while you guys think about it.
He's spending good time as a sort of he's associated with wombs somewhat due to him having some adventures in the womb.
Okay.
Well, demons and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Vivec already helped bring about one race of people, so he already did the whole Dunmer thing, and then was like, okay, that was a wash, JK, about that. So I can just see Vivec like continuously trying, and Jubal happens to be like actually helpful with this for fucking once. So.
Yeah, Vivec does try to do the Amaranth at least once. When we see her form the provisional house and create an environment in which the Amaranth can occur, but Z doesn't have the, if you pardon the expression, balls to pull it off. Z's afraid of all the stuff that's going to happen, that has to happen, and it's just not something that Vivec can bring herself to do. So it's the reason why Jubal's necessary at that point is because Vivec is not enough to do it. Not enough, but is not. Okay, personally, I want to start by saying I don't think Vivec could have physically done Amaranth herself. I think if Vivec had an entirely different personality or was the perfect organism for the perfect spiritually balanced and enlightened, Buddha, it still couldn't have happened because the Amaranth, by basic metaphysics, has to have two people involved, two organisms, the Anuic and the Patamaic force, simultaneously. But basically the combination of two wills. If you'll really get all a little proudly with me. Well, yeah, but it's in a way it's like I would actually argue that even if Vivec wanted to and could do it, it still wouldn't have worked out because it's just not metaphysically going to happen.
Well, then there's the love question too. In that case,
how so?
Well, because you have the marriage thing. And Vivec's kind of full of himself in some ways, but I don't think that's the kind of love. I don't think that's the kind of love necessary. I don't think that's the kind of love necessary to bring about the Amaranth, and so that you sort of needed this actual because you see how fucking nuts Jubal goes with the whole "she said yes" sequence, which I absolutely love. So it's you sort of need that aspect that Vivec didn't have at the time.
That's something I'm fucking super keen on. Is while I'm confident that Vivec truly does love, for example, the Dunmer as a race of people. I think a lot of his love is rooted in his disdain for the people he grew up with, the Chimer, because he lived in fucking the shittiest part of society imaginable. So I think that even if I'm not sure that even if Vivec is capable of that sort of all-encompassing love necessary to create a new positive Amaranth that just doesn't have people fucking killing each other, it's not possible for them because their experiences with people started so shitty that it's impossible to overcome. So he needs Jubal, who has a much better start in a new place that isn't even fucking on Nern, to kind of complete that.
Well, that's actually that new start, that new place is relevant to the reason why memory is leaving, and the reason why it's important that memory is leaving is because everybody knows the phrase "living in the moment," right?
Yeah.
So you live without. So one of the things that I've sort of discussed in several of the CHIM articles that I wrote is that the idea about true enlightenment happens when you are able to live without desire, which is a fixation on what will happen on the future. But at the same time, you have to also live, in order to live in the moment, you have to live without regard for what's going to happen in the future, but also without the baggage of what has happened in the past. And so the Amaranth happening on Masser during Landfall, when there's no past anymore because memory has left, and there's no future because either because Jubal is living without desire, or because there's just no future, there's no time anymore. That's the reason why, basically in a Dragon Break, when time doesn't work anymore, is the only place that you can attain, the Elder Scrolls version of true enlightenment is in this state of now, of present. And so and Vivec did not have access to. I would argue that Vivec did not have access to something like that. Although the description of the provisional house kind of leads you to believe that it is a little like that. At the very least, that the provisional house seems to view the state gradient echo of Mundus Centrex from the beginning to end of time. But that's not really the same thing as living in a current state of without time. It's a map, but you can't have a map. It's geez, man, I'm just wrapping up Sermon 10's commentary, and there's a lot of stuff about living without maps in Sermon 10. The idea of envisioning reality as a state that cannot be put down on a piece of paper, of something you cannot describe, an indescribable reality, and becoming comfortable with living in a state where of total chaos, where you just cannot comprehend where you are or what you are, but all you can be sure of is what you are, is what's happening right now, and that's in a very roundabout way, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is that the state of creating the new Amaranth could not have happened in any environment other than, or at least in no environment other than one that resembled the environment that Jubal and Vivec were in. Okay, so I'm glad that didn't make any sense.
Yeah. We did say it probably wouldn't be helpful at the very beginning. Yeah. We were upfront about it.
Okay. There's the idea of marriage as Jubal mentions arena several times in towards the end of Coda as being a dimension of conflict. Effectively, is what he's not talking about the first game. He's talking about the Elder Scroll about Nirn as being a place of conflict.
First game was named after that, I'm pretty sure. Well, no,
Yeah.
retroactively named after that.
Right, there you go, yeah. And that's something that I kind of wanted to talk about, was the idea of everybody living in a state of free of conflict, which is supposedly what the new man, the Amaranth, will create for people. Ooh, okay. See you, Audrey. Talos as a god holding the arena as a shield. Oh, was there? Justin?
Yeah, I think so.
Say something about
rings
that.
a bell.
I can't remember, but I think it was there. Could find it.
Was that no, that wasn't Talos saying goodbye to the Atmor and Giants, was it?
No, that was another one. This one was just Talos, like, in space, holding, I think, an axe and the arena's shield.
Wow, yeah, I don't know that one.
Mm.
I very vaguely remember it.
Let's start, since we brought up Talos, while you look for that, I actually dropped this one note in here, that way back, here's another internet pause and listen to another one moment, in the Lorkhan podcast, I think it was number 2, Kirkbride mentioned that there was a specific reason that he had to end the Lorkhan plot with Coda, just like how he had to start it in Morrowind to make Tamriel a real place. And I was just kind of wondering if we wanted to talk about that, because he never actually elaborated on that in the podcast, and I think it might be I think that's an interesting thing, that it's like, kind of like how memory has to go away. It's like, well, you win, Lorkhan, it happened, you can go now.
Oh, yeah, somebody succeeded, I guess.
Yeah, someone has to win. It's the, can't remember what it's called. Oh, geez, Michael just disappeared.
Everybody's going.
Yeah, everybody's leaving. My big, huge rant about living in the moment, now everybody's gone.
Yeah. You scared them off.
I was born to murder the podcast. Yeah. So why does Lorkhan need an end?
Well, he already died to begin with. I mean,
well, he died, but his plan,
yeah.
you know, the Lorkhan plot is Mundus. It has to be resolved.
Every one of his incarnations and everything was to further advance his plan to try and succeed. And now that the 7th one is born, new man, Amaranth happens, he's not needed anymore because everyone knows how to succeed and how not to fail.
Yeah, and Lorkhan has finally been reincarnated as the...
That too.
Yeah.
A very man-centric god, and there's nothing man likes more than a story with an ending.
Yeah, if you have a bomb in a story, the bomb has to blow up.
Yeah.
If you have a gun in a story, then the gun has to go off. That's what it is. Yeah. I can't
Elves
remember where that
prefer
comes from.
eternity. Men seem to prefer endings.
It's Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun, thank you.
That's sour grapes, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's also sort of like the marriage happens, Numidium's gone, and then the heart hole closes over what remains of Akatosh. So it's sort of like, this is what my interpretation of the ending kind of boils down to, where it becomes like, all right, it's not the same, it's never going to be the same, but shit's fixed now. Like, the things that were broken are no longer broken.
Right.
And it's like symbolized by this wedding that he officiates.
Right. It's not peace. It's not an ending to war. It's a marriage. It's a creation of a new thing. That's an important thing to remember. Is that they're not just stopping the fight. They're just not like, okay, time out. You know, it's that they're creating an entirely new thing together. That time and space are creating a new thing together, like they did when at convention, at the very first convention.
Yeah, they're doing it again, only better this time.
Yeah, doing a better version.
They're going to do it right.
What Anu got. Anu, his wife died, and then he just basically put himself to sleep. And this time, it's an actual marriage. There's the love happens.
Yeah, there's love here now instead of betrayal, which is I mean that's why the new Amaranth is going to be great, and why Vivec's Amaranth that thankfully Z didn't make was probably going to be fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's like the subconscious of the dreamer will naturally affect the dream itself. So, but yeah.
What does this have to do with canon?
Oh,
Why is canon dead?
Do you want the outside answer or the inside answer?
Both.
Like okay, my outside the story answer is, like, especially because it sort of tone shifts so much with the pseudo sixth house and all that, it's sort of the acknowledgement of it's all fictional anyway. None of this is actually real. Whatever creates the richest and most rewarding experience for you who is ingesting this fiction, whether it's the games or just the game books or just Coda or some combination of all of them, whatever makes the richest experience for you is the right one. No one can tell you your reaction to it is actually wrong, which is the outside the game one, or which is the outside the story one. The inside the story one is that Numidium fuck time so hard that it's all true and it's all not true.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I boil
breaks,
it
I
down.
don't
everything
even think
happens all
there
at
needs
once.
to be an in-story explanation. It's all, like, screw canon.
Daria made a note in the Facebook
right, yeah,
chat
she
that
asked,
I'm trying to
she asked for
find.
us to mention that. It was that we don't need to assume that all of the Tamriels we see are the same one.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing. She said it differently, but like the Tamriel that we see in Oblivion isn't necessarily. It's definitely not the same one in Arena. Not necessarily the same one from Morrowind. None of them might be the same one as Coda. Or if you like to have them all in one run, they're all in one run. Whatever. Fuck it.
But there is consistency there, which is good. Like, what I think is, like, canon is not something that should apply to fiction, but consistency is very fine a thing to have. If you want consistency, you can just, you know...
Yeah.
You can have consistency. Star Wars has ludicrous consistency, and it has canon, but if it didn't have canon, they'd still do the consistency just because they seem to like doing that.
Yeah. Oh god.
Oh yeah. So thanks. Franzen listed Daria's "What is Coda" post on Reddit, which I will link in the description, provided I can freaking remember to do it.
Please do.
I'm not going to read it out loud on this cast, but you should. But everybody who's watching should definitely.
I might.
Yeah, speculative fiction about an already fictional universe is her line about it. That's really good.
I really appreciate that approach to the Elder Scrolls. That it really kind of drives me nuts when people talk about what's canon and what isn't. None of it is real. It doesn't freaking matter what's real and what isn't.
Sorry, I had to interrupt myself before I even said this phrase because I hate it so much. Online rapes the lore.
But yeah, I mean
that's not right at all. Online does well with what it does. It does very well with what it does. All of the games do that well. Continue.
Yeah. I mean, I think since I just... it took about, 3 months for me to understand the say what you see, fight me gag. It's basically take that to, its extreme of, not just for pronunciation of words, but for the whole thing. Like, if you see a series about... Basically, if your central through line of the series is Vivec, then the way that you conceptualize the series is probably going to involve Coda a lot more strongly than somebody who's main conceptual of the whatever of the series is just the immediate experience of the play itself. And neither of those ways of thinking about them are wrong, they're just different. And Coda is basically saying, we all love this shit, so just enjoy it your way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
you're going to be writing something that takes place in Skyrim and is about Ulfric or whatever, it's going to be a very different tone from something that's in Valenwood and why not or something, and it's going to be a very different tone from Vivec and Coda, and that's all perfectly valid, and you can enjoy whichever ones you do and not enjoy whichever ones you don't. And that's what's important here. It doesn't matter how canon especially doesn't matter, because that's just not a reason to hate or like anything at all.
Yeah, it's
irrelevant.
Yeah, the quality of something is divorced in a lot of ways from who made it and on whose dollar and at whose commission. If it's good, it's good.
Yeah, and I think we've pretty much covered everything. Is there anything we missed?
Just looking.
Well, I guess we could talk about the orrery.
Oh yeah, we didn't
Oh
mention
yeah,
that at all.
why is there are 16 planets in the orrery, which is the number of Daedric voids, but not 8 planets, which is the number of the Aedra. So why is that?
Well, we don't specifically know what happened to the Aedra, but Mundus is well, I don't know about Mundus itself, but Nirn is gone, which is mainly where
No, you're doing.
the Aedra had their stake. So
yeah,
and
so the
now
Aedra don't really. Yeah, they may have fucked off for all we know. The Aedra might be gone or dead. It doesn't really matter.
Now everyone is, yeah, I mean, if the planet's gone, I mean, I don't think the mythopoeic forces that bind them are there.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
It's possible the aspects just disperse.
So now you have to track things with the Daedric voids instead of the Aedric.
They're on the moon, so all that's just around them are the Daedric planes.
Also, just during dragon breaks in general, the Aedra are unbound. The 8 stars trek across the sky, and even if you want to take, it's one of the songs of King Wulfirth, the apocryphal ones. If you want to take that as truth, and Lorkhan was really there during that dragon break, which I like to do. But yeah, the Aedra are unbound both in dragon breaks and when Nirn itself is unbound.
I think that's a safe bet. I think you could probably make the argument that Coda is the entire span of Coda is happening during a dragon break.
Yeah.
I'd say up until the wedding, probably, yeah. And
maybe, yeah, it's not it wouldn't be the hardest thing to argue.
Yeah.
So, well, we've spent a lot of time talking about Coda and what Coda means and what goes on in Coda and stuff. We should also probably mention, just like everything else, this is not the definitive answer, and that if you have opinions that differ, please post them in the comments below, because they are every bit as valid as ours, and we would like to hear about them, because it gets really dull being surrounded by my own ideas. And I think we should probably call it here. I don't think we have a plan for what's going on in the next podcast, because frankly, with this one right here is what I consider to be the whole damn point with this.
What about that?
How about next time we do physics?
I want to talk more about the Shores algorithm, man. I don't think that got enough love, damn it. I should write like an article about that or something. That was really good.
We do a podcast about Shore and Nordic religion?
Yeah.
There'll always be something to talk about. But
we do need to talk about the Thalmor. We need to talk about Talos. We need to talk about, hopefully in the same podcast, Talos and
that would actually be
good. And we have got to go do Dagothur. I have a special guest in mind for that.
Yeah, it's
when we do
Elder Scrolls lore is deep enough that we won't run out of topics anytime soon. But this is definitely like the through line of that's been leading up to this is.
Maybe in the Dagothur episode we could do 10 seconds on pronunciation. Actually, you know what? Let's do it right now. 10 seconds on pronunciation. It doesn't matter.
Say what you see, fight me.
Done.
When we do Dagothur, does that include the Battle of Drownton?
Who knows? Sure. I don't know. Shit.
Probably.
It seems like it should.
If we're lucky, ESO will put out some more stuff on Dagothur before we do that, and we'll get to talk about that too.
I'm so sure that one point we're going to go fight him during one of his other awakenings.
Oh, I hope not. I don't want to fight Dagothur and ESO. That's not a fight anybody can win. No, that's not a fight anybody. No, you're gonna have to fight another Nerevarine to do that, man. 1-1, okay?
Hey, what if we're all the Nerevarine in that too? I mean, there's a lot of Nerevarines.
We're not all Nerevarines. We're all Shezarines. You can't be two things that are incarnated.
Oh, you can't be.
We just totally spoiled the end of ESO. I'm sorry if anybody hasn't played that part in ESO yet.
I kind of took it for granted, like, because that's such a common thing in the.
Ermbegerd, it's Morgan Jones.
Morgan.
Oh my God.
Hey, congratulations! You missed like the entire.
He's muted for some reason.
Hey, Rod.
The Numinate.
There he is.
I don't know.
Can you guys hear me?
Why this happened? But
we're just ending the podcast, dude. We just ended. We're like gonna wrap it up like right now. You're on the last 5 minutes of the cast.
Special guest Morgan.
That's fun.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey,
And
we
you're
only had 4
echoing
seconds
like
on
a madman.
pronunciation. We only had 4
you're in the
seconds.
bathroom.
This is like the business center of my apartment. It's like kind of a small room, and it's echoey in here.
Yeah. So, geez, man.
Right.
Did you have any questions about Coda that you wanted to ask? Morgan? Anything about Coda?
I didn't have anything prepared. Hold on, it's very echoey here. I'm going to open the door.
That's amazing. Coming to you from the heart of Lorkhan. From the middle of the provisional house itself.
Very echoey.
About the main quest run.
Literally.
There.
But yeah, all the more reason for me to finally play ESO. It's buy to play. Apparently there's Shezarine shit that happens. Friggin' that old interview that I snuck my way into back at like PAX East a couple of years ago, before Bernie Burns from Rooster Teeth kicked me out of a goddamn bar and put me in a cartoon. Before that shit happened, I snuck my way into an interview where apparently I got told that there was a lot of like Lorkhan and Molag Bal stuff, and that got me excited. I don't know how much it actually made it in, and I kind of want to see.
The Valen stuff is great.
Yeah. Well, geez. Shit, man. Sorry, Morgan. You just showed up at the last minute.
Literally the last minute.
You still don't want to tackle the High Alma?
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't. I really feel totally at a loss with the High Alma. I have no idea what to say about that. Yeah. Sorry. Hey, but hey, if anybody wants to go see one of Morgan's web servers, that's what Coda ES is running on. So, yeah. So go ahead and have fun with that.
Web
we didn't talk about one
Get
thing.
some popcorn.
Oh, what's left?
Disappearance of Man.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
Oh.
Shit.
Thanks
for that. How do we miss that?
That's
So where'd they
frustrating.
go? Anyone? Where'd they go?
Supposedly, before the Thalmor get finally stomped on into non-existence by Numidium, the Thalmor actually succeed in the first part of their plan, which is to erase man from the mythic and completely all possibilities.
But how?
Well,
that's a very good question.
I'm gonna actually say that I don't buy that though, because this is just me being like, I don't know if I'm being weird about it, but like Talos is still walking around, Lorkhan is still walking around, and I feel like erasing them were an instrumental part of erasing humans. So I don't know that I buy that they were, erased from the pattern of possibility completely. I think that it's very possible that they could be extinct in a more mundane way, but
that could be all that's required, though.
There are also two moons.
Yeah, Lorkhan's body is still left, and Lorkhan is still existing in some way.
And think, if you were a human, where were you going to go? You would go to the moon with Raymond's cum on it. Like, that's kind of my opinion.
Well, that's what's going on in Secunda. See, Coda tells you the story of Master.
No.
Let's actually do that. Yeah. There's a whole other moon that's got a cum vault on it, and I feel like that's where humans might go.
Yeah.
Like, never going to be able to get away from that story.
Another time.
If there's me,
until the
there's
Raven
no getting away from the cum.
Do we have to put on Daily Motion?
Yeah, I don't hope that.
No, either way, no. Removing the joking thing from it, I feel like that's a place of power for humanity specifically. So if humans were going to escape anywhere, it would probably be to where Raymond's essence, if you want to avoid the jokes and the low-hanging fruit, would be stored. So that's a possibility. It's in no way confirmed by anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that's something somewhere that they might have gone. They might be extinct conventionally. They might be erased. I don't buy the erased one. I'm just kind of throwing that idea out as the second moon provides options for
other for answers.
That are not done.
For you to choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any kind of Alex, you kind of did. Are you okay? You just sort of woke back up again.
Never mind.
I don't think that Coda contains any information that tells us where mankind went or what happened to them specifically. Mm-hmm. Maybe Landfall Day 1 might, but in the version that I saw, I didn't see anything in there that I remember. I always speculated that the Thalmor were responsible. Yeah, thanks. I don't think that the Thalmor. I always kind of had it in my head that the Thalmor were responsible for bringing back Numidium, and Numidium stomped mankind all to hell because it certainly stomped the hell out of Hammerfell. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of
when it
That
came
was a
back,
human skin.
when it came back, MK was saying that agreed with someone on Reddit, if I remember right, about how the Numidium was done with the Thalmor, as in it was fighting them still, and as it says in that document, whatever, it was fighting long until the end of the Fifth Era, which is about when Landfall happens.
Exactly, yeah. Which kind of leads me to believe that the Thalmor brought Numidium back to stomp the shit out of everything, including them.
But
see what I'm saying? But why? Yeah, because non-existence is better than this shit. You know?
They pretty much lost their minds at that point, I guess.
I wouldn't say they had much of a mind to begin with. I mean, well, actually, no. I would argue otherwise. Actually, I'd say the Thalmor were pretty much right from day one. But that's not going to get me any internet points. But
that's a whole podcast, though, that I really want to do.
Pro Thalmor.
Yeah. Well, you know, mankind is a virus. So's Shore. But whatever.
Yeah. Well,
I'm all for ordinary supremacy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not much of a solid end there. But why should we break the mold?
Yeah. Well,
as with all podcasts, we peter out towards the end, and that's...
Well, to be fair, it's not exactly a solid end that code is about.
True. It's pretty good. I don't know. It's pretty solid.
It's better than we did.
I mean, okay, Coda itself is about a solid end, but it's about writing a solid end to something that has none.
Okay.
So write your own Lorecast fan fiction.
Write your own.
Do we know specifically what
that's it. Write our endings for us.
Leave your ending in the comments.
Yeah, leave your.
Do we know what happened specifically with the three good Daedra? Did that actually appear on Coda?
Yeah, you'll find out.
Yeah. No, I think we hear somewhere what happened to them, but we don't know exactly what.
You're gonna find out exactly.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah,
in that, and that I've heard that it's pretty cool.
Pretty fucking gruesome is what it is, but
like cool in a like if you like horror sort of way. From what it's been described to me, I've seen none of it. I've just heard stuff.
It
makes me very excited.
Fucking. Oh.
See, this is why I'm excited.
I'm really looking forward to some kind of grimdark in test.
Yeah, you'll get some.
God, that laugh is. Wow, that's concerning.
What are you laughing?
Let's end on that note.
It's grimdark. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been nice talking at you. We'll see you back whenever we do another one of these, and we don't know when that's going to be, but, you know, whatever. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.